We're going to do some problems now with a couple of special right triangles. One of them is the 45, 45, 90 triangle. That's an isosceles triangle, and it has sides in the ratio of 1, 1, and the square root of 2 for the hypotenuse. And the other is the 30, 60, 90 triangle, and here there's actually two of them. When you split an equilateral triangle, which is what the big one is, in half, you get two 30, 60, 90 triangles. And the side ratios there are 1, square root of 3, and 2 for the hypotenuse. So those are the triangles that we're going to be working with on these problems. This first problem says the shorter leg of a 30, 60, 90 triangle is 4.5 feet. And then they want you to find the perimeter. I always like to start with a picture. So I'll just draw it in that same orientation we saw in the diagram. And we've got 1, 2, and square root of 3. Now when we find the perimeter, we're going to have to find every side and then add them together. And it says the shorter leg, that's this one down here, is 4.5 feet. Now this one's actually pretty easy to do because if the side that has the ratio of 1 is 4.5, all we have to do is multiply each of the sides by 4.5. This side is 4.5. 1 times 4.5 would equal 4.5. 2 times 4.5 would be that side. And 4.5 times the square root of 3 would be that side. So if we were to add those together, we get 4.5 plus 9, that would be 13.5. And they left it in the form with radicals, so we're just going to say plus 4.5 times the square root of 3. And that looks like answer D. Let's look at another one. This one says one leg of an isosceles right triangle. And right away when you hear isosceles right triangle, you should be thinking 45, 45, 90. So let's go ahead and draw that. I'll draw it with the base downward here and our right angle up there. So here's my 45, 45, 90, and it says one leg, that's one of these two guys, is 10 inches. And we want to find the perimeter. Well, if this is 10, then I know this is 10. And the ratio here is the ratio of 1, 1, square root of 2. Well, again, this is pretty easy. They've given us the 1 side, so the length then we can multiply by the square root of 2 side. So this side is really going to be 10 times the square root of 2. And if we want to find the perimeter, that's going to be 10 plus 10, that's 20, plus 10 times the square root of 2. And if you wanted to find that to a decimal, just punch square root of 2 in your calculator, multiply by 10, add 20, and you should get the right answer. All right, last one. This one's a little bit more involved. It says find the values of x and y, and x is this leg over here, and I hope you can recognize that this is actually a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Here's your 90-degree angle. So this angle is also going to be 45, even if it doesn't look like it. We know this one's 90. So these two sides are going to be the same length. And then this is going to be our square root of 2 side over here. I'm just going to write a notation for myself. 1, 1, square root of 2, just to remember the ratios. And then y is this whole length down here. And hopefully you can see that this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Here's your 60-degree angle up there. There's your right angle. And they've given us the hypotenuse here, which is the 2 side. So let me just write in our sides here. This would be 1, 2, and square root of 3 down here. So let's start figuring out these sides. I think we're pretty much going to have to find all the sides in order to solve this one. This side is 6, and it's the ratio here is 2. So I'm actually going to just set up a proportion on this one so it doesn't get confusing. I'm going to say 6 is to 2 as, and over here we don't know the length, the real length, and that's what I started with on top here of my first ratio was the real length. So I'm going to put x is 2, and this is the one side, 1. And then we cross multiply, we get 6 equals 2x, and we get x equals 3. So this side is really 3. And then down here, we'll do the same thing. So 6 is to 2 as x is to the square root of 3. And when we multiply, cross multiply here, we get 6 times the square root of 3 equals 2x. And we would get x equals, well, 6 times the square root of 3 divided by 2 would be 3 times the square root of 3. So setting up these ratios is kind of a foolproof way to figure it out. You might have been able to do that in your head. You know that the 2 side is 6, so you're really multiplying every side by 3. So 3, 6, and 3 times the square root of 3 might make a lot of sense to you. Now what we've done in figuring out the sides of the 30, 60, 90 triangle is we've also figured out this side here, which is one of the legs of our 45, 45, 90 triangle. So if this side is 3, this side is going to be 3 as well. And already here, we can answer y. This is 3 times the square root of 3 down here, and this is 3. So y, we just add those together, 3 plus 3 times the square root of 3. And I think I'm just going to leave it like that. If you wanted to figure out the decimal there, you can just go ahead and do the multiplication and addition on your calculator. We're going to move on and figure out what x is here. And what we have is the one side of our 45, 45, 90 triangle is 3. So to figure out what the x side is, which is in the square root of 2 ratio to it, we're just going to multiply that by 3. So this side is really 3 times the square root of 2. And that is a little bit of work with some special right triangles.